The most powerful empire in the world. But did you know it began with 7 kings? And one of them was exiled forever by his own people. Why? Because this is not just a story. It's the truth of power, betrayal, and rebellion that turned a tiny village into the world's greatest empire. Almost 3,000 years ago, on the banks of a river, there was a simple settlement. No mighty army, no grand buildings, just a few huts and rival tribes all around. Then came the 7 kings, each more dangerous, more powerful, and more cunning than the last. One built an empire through war, another through law, and another through tyranny. And these 7 rulers are the secret behind how Rome became not just a city, but a force to be reckoned with.
Imagine standing on the banks of the Tiber River nearly 3,000 years ago, when Rome was nothing more than a small cluster of huts surrounded by wild forests and rival tribes. It is hard to believe that this humble settlement would one day grow into the most powerful empire the world had ever seen. But before the Republic, before Julius Caesar, and long before the emperors ruled from marble palaces, Rome was shaped by a forgotten era, the Age of Kings. For over 2 centuries, Rome was ruled by 7 legendary kings, each one leaving behind a powerful mark on the city as destiny. Some were warriors who expanded Rome through battle. Others were builders who created roads, temples, and walls. And some were reformers who organized Roman society and law. Together, these rulers transformed Rome from a fragile village into a rising city-state filled with ambition, strength, and purpose. In this video, we will journey back to the regal period, uncover the stories of the 7 kings of Rome, and discover how their leadership laid the foundation for one of history's greatest civilizations. Let's begin where Rome's power first started, with its kings. Romulus is remembered as the legendary founder of Rome and the first king who turned a small settlement into a real city. According to ancient tradition, Romulus and his twin brother Remus were raised by a she-wolf after being abandoned as infants. When they grew older, they decided to build a city near the Tiber River. However, a dispute between the brothers ended in tragedy, and Romulus became the sole ruler of the new city, naming it Rome after himself. As king, Romulus established many of Rome's earliest institutions. He organized the first Roman army, created the Senate to advise him, and welcomed outsiders to strengthen the population. His rule was marked by ambition, expansion, and the desire to make Rome powerful among neighboring tribes. Romulus set the foundation for Roman identity, combining leadership, military strength, and a vision of greatness. Even though much of his story is wrapped in legend, Romans believed Romulus gave their city its first sense of purpose and destiny, beginning Rome's long rise toward greatness. Numa Pompilius, the second king of Rome, was very different from Romulus. While Romulus was a warrior king, Numa was known as a peaceful and religious leader. He believed that Rome needed stability, laws, and spiritual unity more than constant war. During his reign, Numa established many of Rome's religious traditions that lasted for centuries. He created priesthoods, introduced sacred rituals, and built temples to honor the gods. Numa also reformed the Roman calendar, adding months and organizing time in a way that helped Roman society function more smoothly. His leadership brought a period of peace and order, allowing Rome to grow internally rather than through conquest. Romans respected Numa as a wise ruler who strengthened the city's moral and religious foundation. Under his guidance, Rome became more than just a military settlement. It became a community bound together by shared beliefs, traditions, and sacred laws. Numa's reign showed that Rome's rise was not only built on battle, but also on religion, discipline, and unity. Tullus Hostilius, the third king of Rome, brought Rome back to the path of war and conquest. Unlike the peaceful Numa, Tullus believed Rome's greatness depended on military expansion and strength. His reign was marked by aggressive campaigns against neighboring Latin cities. One of the most famous events of his rule was the conflict with Alba Longa, a rival city with deep cultural ties to Rome. According to legend, the war was decided through a dramatic battle between 2 sets of triplet warriors, showing how Rome valued courage and honor. Eventually, Alba Longa was destroyed, and its people were brought into Rome, increasing the city's population and power. Tullus also strengthened Rome politically by building the Senate House, giving Roman leaders a place to gather and govern. His reign helped Rome dominate the region of Latium and proved that Rome could defeat its rivals through force. Tullus Hostilius represented Rome's warrior spirit and ambition, pushing the city beyond survival toward true regional power, setting the stage for further expansion in the centuries to come. Ancus Marcius, the 4th king of Rome, is remembered as a ruler who balanced both war and peace. He followed the path of Numa in respecting religion, but also understood the need for military strength like Tullus. Ancus fought against neighboring tribes when necessary, expanding Rome's territory and influence. However, his greatest achievements were in building and development. Ancus is credited with founding Ostia, Rome's first port city at the mouth of the Tiber River. This was a major step forward, as it allowed Rome to grow economically through trade and access to the sea. He also built bridges, roads, and defensive structures that strengthened the city. Ancus brought new settlers into Rome, helping it become larger and more diverse. His reign showed that Rome's rise depended not only on conquest, but also on infrastructure, commerce, and smart leadership. By combining religious tradition, military action, and economic expansion, Ancus Marcius helped transform Rome into a more organized and prosperous city-state. Tarquin the Elder, the fifth king of Rome, marked a turning point in Roman history because he was of Etruscan origin, bringing new cultural influences into the city. His reign is remembered for major construction projects that changed Rome's appearance forever. Tarquin began building monumental architecture, moving Rome from a simple town toward a true urban center. He started the construction of the Circus Maximus, a massive arena for chariot races and public games, which became a symbol of Roman entertainment. He also initiated the Cloaca Maxima, an enormous drainage system that helped control flooding and improved sanitation. Tarquin expanded Rome's power through military victories and strengthened the role of the king. Under his rule, Rome became richer, more organized, and more impressive in size and structure. His